Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Kevin's Garage. Of course, by now you know it's my ongoing journey as a car building novice to build my Factory 5 Roadster. So what are we doing this week? Well, this week we are fitting the exhaust system, and we're going to start with a little bit of show and tell so you can see exactly the system that I've decided to fit. So firstly, you know already, as you saw me fit them, we've got our BBK Shorty uneven headers, and the reason we have those is really because of the fact that we're in New Jersey, and in New Jersey we need to fit catalytic converters. So let me show you how we're going to do that. So Factory 5 actually used to provide a catalytic converter in like a Jpipe, a little bit like this. But they don't do that anymore. Now you can sort of get hold of them secondhand, but they are few and far between. So when I was on the forum, the Factory 5 forum, the best thing they said is get yourselves the Mustang Jpipes, as you see here, and then in those you can fit a performance catalytic converter. So here you see the one that I've got. It's a G Sport performance catalytic converter. And the reason I went with this one is, again, on the Factory 5 forum, there was a whole number of discussions. And this actually came from a couple of guys in New Jersey who said that they found a local fabricator, put them together, welded them into the Jpipes, did a great job. So I'm not exactly sure if I need them in New Jersey. I think I do, in which case I'm going to be safe rather than sorry. There's not a huge impact in car performance. Clearly they're going to be cleaner, and it does suppress the sound a little bit, which is pretty good news for my wife, who literally has no idea how loud this engine and this exhaust system is going to sound. So of course what those are all connected to is then, if I can just show it here, and I'm trying to keep it in the plastic because I'm trying not to scratch it or to mess it up. I've got, again, from Factory 5, the side pipes. These are the polished stainless steel, certainly fit the vintage look that I am going with, so they'll be going on. Let me carefully put that back. And then the other nuance in New Jersey is New Jersey is a state where it's very much safety first. So I found these very nice polished chrome and aluminum heat shield protectors from a company called Aggressive Cobra Products. And I have to say the feedback generally on the heat shields is that a lot of owners don't like them. But I think that, you know, I have to have them in New Jersey. I don't think my wife will step in the car without them. But I actually think that these actually look pretty cool and pretty groovy, if I say so myself. So I'll be fitting those as well. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to fit. So let's get started. Okay, so let's now start to fit the exhaust system. Firstly, let me show you how the Jpipes turned out. So here you are with the G Sport catalytic converter just welded into place. So I think they did a very nice job. And this simply, and just a reminder, there are two lengths of the Jpipes, and so we're on the right side of the car, or the passenger side, and this is the shorter side for the headers. And so this just fastens onto here. We're just going to do it fairly loosely at this stage. So I'll just hold it on for a second, and it just goes on with a regular washer, a lock washer, and a nut. So let's just put that one in place, so we can sort it out in a minute. But that's where it's going to come out, just under there. So let me do the other one, and I'll show you what they both look like. Okay, so there you can see the right side is in place. So I've just set it so that it's sort of straight out at this stage. These are still fairly loose, so I will be able to move it around when I get the long side pipe into position, I can move this around to make sure I've got it exactly right. But I think that's fine for now, to just give you an idea as to what it looks like. Right, so I've fitted both of the Jpipes now with the catalytic converter. So you can see this is the passenger side. It looks pretty good. It's still fairly loose because I do need some movement for when I fit the side pipes. What I did do to make sure I was in the right position is I measured on the body from the middle of the wheel arch to the middle of the opening as to where the Jpipe will come out, and that was 21 inches, and that's what I've done on this side as well. So if you take a look over at the driver's side, firstly, you can see that you can see now why we definitely had to move the oil filter in the 90-degree angle, so that fits quite nicely. And then you can see this is the slightly longer Jpipe with catalytic converter, or CAT, and it comes out about the same position. And again, I measured to the wheel and it was 21 inches. Okay, so I think we're in a good position now to start preparing the side pipes. Okay, so now let's start to prepare the side pipes for installation. I think the first thing you'll notice is I've got a separate table here, I've got a blanket, I've also got gloves on, because I'm really trying to protect the pipes. I mean, these are the polished stainless steel pipes from Factory 5 Racing, and the last thing I want to do is to scratch them or blemish them or get them too dirty even before getting them on the car. What I'm also fitting is and these are aluminum based with a chrome cover, heat shields, because I live in New Jersey, so I need to have heat shields on the car to pass inspection. And these are from a company called Aggressive Cobra Products, and I'll put their details in the detail window of this video. Okay, so I've got everything else set up around me that I'll be using. But the first thing I've got to do is to use these little brackets. So they have 2 holes for bolts, and then there's another bolt which just tightens the bracket. So I've loosened them, and you need to have the sort of the polished or the chrome section at the top, and then there's a black section at the bottom. And in essence, what you're doing is you're putting sort of one around here, and then one around here, and then you're mounting the shield like that. So the shield comes with 2 distinct holes, and you can see they're at slight different distances, so you can decide which is the best sort of orientation for you. For me, this looks about right. I'm working here on the driver's side pipe, so it'll go that way round. So this is the top and this is the bottom. So they just attach by 2 little bolts in the top, 2 little bolts in the bottom. They recommend putting a little bit of thread locker blue on that, so that's what I'll do. And then we'll come back in a minute and show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's it when it's done. So you can see that's at a sort of a 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock orientation. But as I said, when you put it on the car, if you want to move it up a little bit higher, then you can. And just for reference, at the back, there should be a little gap in the brackets of between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. All right, so let's go and do the other one. Okay, so next up we are just taking the mountain bracket. Mounting, not mountain as in you climb a mountain, but mounting as in it attaches to something, and you just pop that on the front of the bracket on the side pipe. As always, some of these holes were a little easier than others, and you just pop a lock nut on the back. So pretty straightforward. So let's do that. Let's just tighten that up. I'll just do the top one maybe. Okay, so let's start and dry fit the side pipes. I've got my gloves on, so I'm not causing any damage or getting too many fingerprints all over the side pipe. Got a couple of blankets on the floor, stop anything getting scratched. I've got a jack stand with some foam on the top for a similar reason, to provide some support. So let's see if we can get it fitted. I've obviously got the gasket, I've got the 3/8 inch bolts and lock nuts. So let's attach it. Just pop that on there. That will help. Okay, pop the gasket in. Just get one of these bolts started, and that will make my life a lot easier. Okay, all right, so I'll just get that bolted up and then we'll take a look. Okay, so we can see all 4 bolts are in, nice and tight. There is still some flexibility in the pipe at the moment because I need that in a while, but you can already see what it's going to look like, and I think it looks pretty good. Right, let's move on to the next stage. So the next stage is that we're now under the car, and I've just drilled this hole here. So this is a 3/16 hole, and the whole idea is this rubber bracket is going to go under there, and we're going to put a self-tapping screw in the top. Then we can bolt this together here, and then what we're going to do is drill this piece here and put a bolt all the way through into the driver's footbox from here, using another grommet, which is this one here. All right, so the secret with this hole is to get it as close to the top as possible. They recommend about 1/2 inch, and also get it quite tight over to the left, so you've got room for the body to come down. All right, so let's put that in and see what it looks like. Okay, so hopefully you can see this, but what we end up with is a number 14 self-tapping screw at the top with a washer holding this large rubber grommet in place, and then underneath that you have a 3/8 bolt, button head bolt, comes in from the back with a washer, and then just tightened with a lock nut. And then what we can do is we can use that as a guide, because what we need to do now is up on the far right, we need to drill a hole all the way through into the footbox to take the 3/8 bolt. All right, so let's get on and mark that and drill that hole. Okay, so I've come under the car now so I can show you what process I went to. And I have to say that I did make a couple of mistakes, or as I like to call them, bloody hell Marg moments, but I think I've rescued it okay. So let's just talk through it. So if you recall, we just drilled a hole just behind here. And so what we've done is we've taken the sort of oval rubber attachment, and with a washer and I believe it's a number 14 self-tapping screw, we've just put that carefully in there. So the mistake I made, the first mistake, is I probably drilled the hole too high. I think I misread the instructions. What should have happened is this whole sort of bushing, if you like, should be about 1/2 inch from the top, whereas mine is like about 1/8 of an inch. But it should be okay, as long as there's a gap here that you can get the plastic body under, it should be fine. Otherwise I can always drop it down between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. So as a result, everything is a little high, which just made it a bit more awkward. Then what you do is you take the middle-sized 5/16 bolt that you had, put a washer on it, put it through here, and then put this lock nut on it. Then what you do is you use this as a guide and you drill, and this was the awkward part, particularly as to where I position mine. You have to drill straight through this 2-inch tube. So you can imagine it's quite an awkward place. So you need to have one of those right angle drill bits, and I actually burnt mine out doing this. So it was a little tougher. I think if this had been a ½ an inch lower, which it should have been, it would have been a bit easier. But just persevere and keep the drill nice and slow and it will go. So when it goes and you've cleaned all the bearings out, so be careful, because I didn't. I cleaned it out with the end of my finger. But anyway, clean the bearings out, then you push the longer bolt all the way through, and then you put this, the next sort of rubber bushing, and there's actually a thread in the back, so it screws into there. What I had to do is, because this was a little bit, the thread's a little shorter inside the bushing, is I just put a washer behind there. That made it much easier. And then you push all the way through, and then you just put this arm back on and put a lock nut on there. So it sounds easy, but it was a little bit awkward. This whole process was a little awkward. I've just done the other side. That was a little easier because the whole thing is dropped down a touch. Now, I did manage to equalize them out, and I'll show you that later, just because I'm using the Shorty headers. All right, so that's it. Let's move on. Okay, so the exhaust system is in, so let's just summarize and show you what it looks like through Kevin Cam. So you can see there is the this is the driver's side, the BBK Shorty headers that we installed just before obviously we put the engine in. Then it comes down to the Mustang Jpipes from Factory 5, and of course we talked about the G-Sport catalytic converters that we put in. And again, big shout out to Denny from Mufflex in Mercerville, New Jersey, did a fabulous job. Then you've got the Factory 5 side pipes. I've got mine in the polished steel. And then from Aggressive Cobra Products, you've got the aluminum and chrome covered heat shields. So that's how it looks. I must admit, I'm pretty pleased with what it looks like. The good news is I've got some flexibility still to move them up and down a little as we put the body on. That's one of the beauties, I think, of the Shorty headers. And here you can see the passenger side as well. All right, let's just summarize and bring it home. Okay, so that's it for this week's edition of Kevin's Garage. I have to say I'm really pleased overall in terms of how the exhaust system came out, particularly the side pipes. Although I know I'm not going to be able to walk past the car over the coming weeks, I'm sure, without giving it a little polish to make sure that it stays looking just as beautiful as it looks right now. So I think overall the process was pretty straightforward, apart from some of the work under the car. And I think for me as a novice, a couple of tools that I found really invaluable is that you actually just can't reach the space that you're looking to with a standard drill. So getting one of these attachments that enables you to work in a small space at an angle, at a 90-degree angle, is very important. That's just one version that fits on a standard drill. This one fits on a driver. The only problem with this bit is it's really a driver and not for drilling holes, but some spaces are so tight that you actually need to use this. The challenge here is you have to hold it to drive it in, and this gets exceedingly hot, so you just have to be really careful. In fact, I burnt one out on this part of the project. All right, so that's it. A couple of things I think you'll find useful. All right, so that's it for this week. Next week, what are we doing? We're moving on to the trunk again, and we're fitting the cubby kit, and then the final piece of aluminum for the back of the cockpit into the trunk. So hopefully you're continuing to enjoy this novice's journey to build his Factory 5 Roadster. If you are, then please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.